My dear child, rise with me now. The morning sun stretches its golden fingers across the face of the world, and there you lie, not just a body, but a becoming. Not just a soul, but a spark. For it is in the dawn, yes, in that gentle hush between darkness and day, that destiny is whispered to those who dare to listen. And oh, my love, the successful ones. They listen. They do not wait for the world to tell them who they are. They rise before it does. They mold the day before it can mold them. And they walk with a quiet power that makes the mountains bow and the rivers dance. Let me tell you what they do. Before the earth yawns itself into daylight, before the morning stirs the city from its slumber, there is a silence, a sacred silence. It is not empty, no, but full of the whispered prayers of our ancestors, full of the quiet hush of possibility, full of the steady heartbeat of God gently nudging you awake. And it is in this stillness that the successful ones, the wise ones, the brave ones, the ones who do not wait for life to give them permission, rise. They rise early, not just to wake up, but to awaken. Now, I am not talking about opening your eyes at the crack of dawn so you can chase a paycheck or impress a boss. No, child. I'm talking about a different kind of rising, a sacred kind. The kind of rising that begins not with the body, but with the soul. You see, waking up is for the living, but awakening, that's for the divine. That's for the ones who understand that every single morning is not just a beginning, but a calling. They rise before the world can tell them who they are. They rise before the news can make them afraid, before social media can make them compare, before the weight of yesterday can settle back onto their shoulders. They do not rise just to move. They rise to be moved by spirit, by purpose, by truth. And in that quiet place, when the sky is still the color of deep blue velvet, they sit with themselves. They listen. They breathe. Not the shallow kind of breath we take when we are rushing to nowhere, but the deep, soul-filling breath that says, I am here. I am alive. I have been given this day, and I will not waste it. They do not wake up reacting. They awaken responding to the divine invitation that life offers each and every sunrise. For in those early hours, time slows down. It does not hurry. It does not hustle. It does not demand. It simply gives. And the successful ones, the ones with light in their eyes and peace in their bones, they receive it. They receive the gift of being unbothered, untouched by the noise of the world. They let the morning greet them like an old friend, gently, warmly, without pretense. They may pray, not with lofty words or empty noise, but with sincerity, with that heart, aching kind of prayer that doesn't need to be spoken aloud, because heaven hears it anyway. They may speak a quiet thank you. Thank you for the breath. Thank you for this chance. Thank you for another day to try again. They may not have everything they want, but they start the day from a place of enough. And from that place, miracles flow. You see, the successful don't chase the clock. They own it. They don't let the minutes run them ragged. They shape their morning like a potter shapes clay. They set the tone, set the temperature, set the truth of who they are before the world has a chance to tell them otherwise. And in doing so, they become unshakable. I have known folks with wealth who were poor in peace. I have seen men and women with accolades, but no anchor. What you do in the morning, child, determines who you are becoming. If you begin in chaos, you will carry it all day. But if you begin in stillness, in awareness, in sacred attention, you carry that strength into every room you enter. Rising early is not about being better than others. No, my dear. It's about honoring yourself. It's about recognizing that the soul needs tending just like the body. And when you rise before the sun, you get a head start on watering your roots. You give yourself a chance to bloom before the world demands your petals. Now I know, some say they are not morning people. That is all right. You do not have to leap out of bed singing like a lark. But there is a difference between dreading the morning and being deliberate with it. You do not have to be loud to be powerful. You do not have to move fast to move meaningfully. Even a whisper has weight when it is full of intention. So when you next open your eyes, don't just reach for your phone. Don't let the noise be the first thing that kisses your consciousness. Instead, let silence hold you. Let breath steady you. Let gratitude greet you. Rise not because the alarm told you to, but because your spirit did. Rise not just to beat the day, but to become it. You were not made to sleepwalk through your life. You were made to rise, to awaken, to shake the dust off your dreams and walk boldly into your purpose. So rise, my dear, rise early, rise fully, rise with reverence. For in that first light, in that holy quiet, you will remember who you are. And that, my love, is the beginning of success. Before the world begins its usual spin, before traffic hums and deadlines chase, there stands a holy moment. One so small you might miss it, but so mighty it can shape the course of your entire day. It is the moment after your eyes open, but before your hands reach. A crossroads of spirit and habit. And the successful ones, those who walk with quiet confidence, those who wear peace like perfume, know the power of this sacred pause. They do not grab. They give thanks. You see, it's easy in this world of hustle and hurry to believe that success comes from what you take, that you must take control. Take charge. Take the lead. But the ones who are truly successful, the ones whose souls are anchored even when the winds rage, know a deeper truth. Before you take anything, you must first acknowledge everything. Before you snatch, you must kneel. Before you consume, you must praise. Gratitude, my dear, is the cornerstone of grace. They do not roll out of bed groaning about what they lack. No, they rise with a whispered prayer, sometimes silent, sometimes sung, that says simply, thank you. Not for the riches yet to come, but for the breath already in their lungs. Not for a stage to stand on, but for the ground beneath their feet. They thank the Creator for another chance, another page, another morning. The successful ones know that a heart full of complaint cannot carry the weight of a calling. They know that gratitude is not a feeling. It is a practice. It is a choice, a sacred rebellion against bitterness, a daily decision to see beauty even in brokenness. They do not wait until everything is perfect to give thanks. No, child. They thank their way through the storm. They bless the rain while it falls, knowing it nourishes something unseen. They praise while the door is still closed, knowing that God works in silence. They understand that every breath is a miracle and every sunrise a sermon. Now, I'm not talking about a performative kind of gratitude, the kind you post online for likes and approval. I'm talking about the kind that takes root deep in the belly. The kind that looks at an old pair of shoes and says, these still carry me. The kind that looks at a cup of water and whispers, this still refreshes me. The kind that looks at a body marked by time and still says, this body still moves, still dances, still praises. The successful ones begin their mornings with thanksgiving because they know what it means to lose. They have buried dreams. They have endured nights darker than coal. They have tasted the bitter wine of failure and disappointment. And because they have known what it means to be empty, they cherish fullness all the more. They do not take life for granted. They hold it gently, like a sacred flame passed from hand to hand, and in their gratitude they become rich. Not always in currency, but in character. Not always in luxury, but in legacy. They walk with a light in their eyes, not because everything has gone right, but because they have learned how to give thanks even when things go wrong. Gratitude, my dear, shifts the soil of your soul. It turns hard ground into fertile fields. It makes room for joy. It clears the path for blessings. And when practiced first thing in the morning, it becomes a compass. It points you back to what matters, back to what sustains. The successful ones know that life does not owe them anything. So they greet each morning with reverence. They do not demand. They delight. They do not rush. They receive. They give thanks for the smallest things, knowing that big things grow from seeds. When you wake up, you have a choice. You can reach first for your phone, for your planner, for your burdens. Or you can reach for your soul. You can start the day frantic or faithful. You can lead with fear or you can lead with praise. Give thanks before you grab. Thank the pillow that held your dreams. Thank the window that lets in the light. Thank the bones that held you upright while you slept. And most of all, thank the one who breathed life into your body one more time. Gratitude is not weakness, child. It is strength. It is a declaration to heaven and earth that you see the goodness, that you choose to see light even when shadows linger, that you are not too proud to say, I didn't make this day, I was gifted it. And when you begin your day with thanksgiving, the whole world becomes softer. The noise loses its power. The stress, the strain, the striving, they quiet down. And in that quiet, you can hear the still, small voice reminding you that you are already enough. So give thanks, not as an afterthought, but as your very first act of power. Let it be your morning ritual, your daily altar, your secret strength. And watch, dear heart, as the day bends itself in your favor, not because you demanded it, but because you remembered to be grateful for it. There is something sacred, something deeply noble about a person who begins the morning not just with prayer, not just with gratitude, but with a vision. A clear, intentional vision, not of grandeur, but of direction, not of glory, but of grounding. You see the successful ones, the ones whose presence commands attention without needing to shout. They do not drift into their days like leaves on the wind. No, child. They step into them like kings and queens walking into their destiny. They begin their morning by setting their intentions. Setting intentions is not about barking orders at the universe. It is not about demanding that the day bend to your will. It is about aligning yourself, your thoughts, your breath, your spirit, with the rhythm of purpose. It is about opening your eyes and saying, today I choose peace. Or, today I will not allow fear to ride in the front seat. Or even, today I may fall, but I will rise again. The successful ones do not leave their day to chance. They do not allow circumstance to script their steps. They write the script with their own hands, and then they walk it out, page by page, breath by breath. They do not wait to see what the day holds before deciding who they will be. They choose first. They choose stillness. They choose courage. They choose love. It is not a complicated ritual, but it is a holy one. You don't need a stage, a microphone, or an audience. Just a quiet moment. Just you, your breath, and your truth. That is where power begins. Not in doing, but in being. Some light a candle. Some write it down. Some speak it aloud, letting their words become a decree over their own life. I will walk in kindness. I will complete the work set before me. I will not be shaken by what I cannot control. These are not weak words. These are not soft wishes. These are declarations. These are promises whispered into the marrow of your being. To live without intention is to live by accident. And there is nothing divine about a life of constant reaction. You wake up and your phone is already shouting. Your inbox is pulling. The news is shaking your nerves before your feet have even touched the floor. But when you start your morning by setting an intention, you reclaim your sovereignty. You say to the world, before you tell me what I need to fear, I will tell myself what I came to do. And it doesn't matter if the day goes as planned. That's the beauty of intention. It isn't about control. It's about clarity. Even when storms rise, even when traffic hits, even when people disappoint you, your intention remains your anchor. It reminds you of the center you started from. It calls you back to the truth you declared in the quiet. the ones who move through life with peace in their pocket and fire in their heart. They didn't stumble upon it. They built it, one morning at a time, one intention at a time. They knew that the day would pull them from all sides, so they planted themselves deep before the winds began to blow. They rooted themselves in purpose. And let me tell you something, childing, when you speak life into your own morning, the world begins to respond. You'll notice how chaos tries to get close but doesn't quite reach you. How distractions knock but don't get through the door. You'll find that people respect a soul that respects itself enough to begin each day on purpose. Setting intentions is not about perfection. You will still fall short. You will still get tired. You will still be human. But even then you will have something to return to. A spiritual home inside your day, a guiding star to keep you from wandering too far. So speak your truth into the dawn. Shape your morning with your own hands. Do not let it shape you. You are not a victim of the calendar. You are not a slave to the clock. You are the steward of your time. And your morning is your most precious offering. You see, what you say in the morning, your day listens to. What you believe in the morning, your spirit becomes. And what you set in the morning becomes the stage for everything else that follows. So don't start your day by stumbling into it. Start it by declaring who you are and what you came to do. Let your morning intentions be like sacred seeds planted in the garden of your soul. Water them with faith. Protect them with awareness. And watch as they grow into strength, into peace, into the quiet kind of power that needs no applause. Because, my love, success is not a destination. It is a series of sacred choices. And each morning gives you one more chance to choose. So choose boldly, choose beautifully, choose with intention. There is a quiet and beautiful dignity in movement. A sacred rhythm that belongs not only to the dancer or the athlete, but to every soul wise enough to honor their body first thing in the morning. The successful ones, the grounded ones, the ones who do not let the weight of the world make their spirits heavy. Oh, they know the secret. They move their bodies in the morning, not just to sculpt the flesh, but to awaken the spirit. It need not be grandchild. It need not be loud. There is no need for heavy machines or perfect leggings. The miracle isn't in the exercise. It's in the reverence. They stretch their arms as if reaching for heaven. They roll their shoulders back like they're shaking off the chains of yesterday. They walk, they breathe, they bend. Not in vanity, but in victory. Because each movement says, I'm still here. Each breath says, my body still holds me. Each step says, I still have somewhere to go. You see, the successful ones don't just think their way into clarity. They move toward it. They honor the house that holds their soul. They do not wait for sickness to begin praising their health. No, they begin each morning like a poem, slow, intentional, alive. The way a river knows to flow and not to freeze. The way the sun stretches across the sky without apology. Their movement is not hurried. It is not born of punishment or guilt. It is born of love. Love for the body that has carried them through every heartbreak, every triumph, every long and weary road. The body that bore the weight of grief and still stood tall. The body that was ridiculed, touched without permission or ignored, but still rose. Oh yes, it rose. When they move in the morning, they are not chasing a number on a scale. They are listening. Listening to the way their knees whisper truth. Listening to the way their breath answers back when they climb the stairs. Listening to the temple that is their own form, sacred and flawed, beautiful and bruised. And in that listening they find healing. They walk through their neighborhood like queens returning to their kingdom. They stretch in their living rooms like trees remembering how to grow. They dance alone in kitchens, barefoot, unbothered, rejoicing. They do not wait for a special occasion to move. Morning is the occasion. Waking up is the celebration. and every twist, every lift, every beat of the heart is praise. There is power in saying, I will not let this day begin without honoring this body. There is wisdom in making space for your blood to flow freely, for your joints to loosen, for your spine to rise like a mountain. Movement does not just wake up the body, it wakes up the mind. It tells the soul, you are alive. Now go and live. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Success does not come dressed in perfection. Success comes in consistency, in the quiet discipline of showing up for yourself, again and again, until your body begins to thank you with peace, with strength, with clarity. It comes in the unglamorous moments. Those first 5 minutes when you'd rather stay beneath the covers, but you rise anyway. It is in the breath you catch as your heart beats faster. It is in the silence between movements where you realize, I am enough, just as I am, and still becoming. Successful people do not separate body from spirit. They know that one feeds the other, that a tired body leads to a tired mind. That tension in the limbs becomes tension in the soul. So they stretch not just to lengthen muscle, but to release pain. They breathe not just for air, but for balance. They move not to escape themselves, but to return home to who they are. There is no shame in a body that moves slowly. There is no weakness in pausing to rest. What matters is that you begin. What matters is that you choose to rise instead of roll over. That you step into the day, however awkwardly, with intention and care. Every move you make is a message to the universe. I believe in my own becoming. I respect the body I've been given. So let the morning be your altar. Let your breath be your prayer. Let your movement be your offering. You don't need to run a mile. Sometimes a slow stretch is more sacred than speed. Sometimes a walk to the mailbox is enough to remind you that you are still moving forward. Still on your way, still alive in this miraculous body. And when the world begins to shout, when demands press in like waves, you will know. You already did something holy today. You moved. You breathed. You chose to rise with your body, not just your mind. You danced in your own skin. That, my love, is a kind of success the world cannot measure. There is something powerful, deeply sacred, about a person who meets the morning with a heart tuned to gratitude. Not a hurried thank you tossed into the wind, but a quiet, deliberate choice to look at the day and say, yes, I am still blessed. You see, gratitude is not something the successful stumble into. It is something they practice. Like a musician tuning an instrument before the concert begins, they tune their soul before stepping into the symphony of the day. And I don't mean gratitude for just the shining things, the awards, the applause, the clean reports, and good news. No, I'm talking about the gratitude that stretches itself out over sorrow and still finds room to say, thank you. I'm talking about the kind of gratitude that looks at a weary body and says, still I rise. The kind that looks at a cracked heart and says, still I love. That's the gratitude of the wise. That's the gratitude of the truly successful. Every morning is a gift, and the ones who know how fleeting life can be, they never forget that. They do not wait for everything to be perfect before they offer thanks. They do not require a miracle to find a reason to smile. Instead, they open their eyes and find the miracle in breath, in light, in sound, in the ability to rise out of bed, to place 2 feet on the ground and begin again. And don't let this world convince you that gratitude is weakness, that it is soft or foolish. No, child, it is the strongest of all virtues. It is the weapon that cuts through bitterness, the shield that protects you from despair, the foundation upon which hope is built. Because when you begin your day in gratitude, you do not enter the world empty. You enter full of awareness, full of grace, full of the kind of power that money cannot buy and time cannot steal. Those who rise with gratitude are not blind to the pain of the world. No, they feel it deeply. But they have chosen not to be consumed by it. They have chosen to see both the sorrow and the beauty, the brokenness and the blessing. And in that choice, they find peace. You might see them sitting by the window with a warm drink in hand, eyes closed, whispering a thank you not meant for anyone else to hear. You might see them writing in journals, listing blessings like sacred poetry. I woke up. My child is safe. There's food in the fridge. I'm still here. Simple things. But oh, don't be deceived. Those simple things are miracles in disguise. And sometimes the gratitude sounds like a song. Sometimes it's just a breath. Sometimes it's a tear sliding down the cheek, because even in the middle of pain, they can still feel the presence of something greater. That's when you know the gratitude has gone deep. It has become part of who they are. Not just something they say, but something they carry. Gratitude changes how you see the world. It doesn't remove the problems, but it shifts the weight. It makes room for joy, even in the middle of chaos. It allows you to celebrate the small victories and endure the long battles. It gives you the courage to believe that, no matter what the day holds, you are still being held. The ones who succeed in life, truly succeed, are the ones who see the value in what others overlook. They smile at strangers. They savor their food. They say, thank you, not just with words, but with their living. They do not take the moment for granted, because they know tomorrow is not promised. They know that life is not owed, but offered. And when you start your day in that spirit, it echoes, it colors your choices. It affects how you speak to others, how you walk into rooms, how you handle difficulty. Gratitude makes you gentle without making you weak. It makes you grounded without making you stagnant. It makes you radiant from the inside out. You do not need a big house or a full bank account to practice this kind of gratitude. You only need a willing heart, a spirit that refuses to focus only on what's missing and instead celebrates what is. You can lose much in this life, but as long as you hold on to gratitude, you will always have a reason to keep going. So rise, beloved, with thankfulness in your bones. Before the phone starts ringing, before the day demands too much, whisper your thank yous to the heavens. Thank the ground for holding you. Thank your body for carrying you. Thank your heart for trying again. Speak it, write it, feel it. Let gratitude be your morning song, because the sun rises not just for the strong or the successful. It rises for the grateful. And when you welcome it with a heart wide open, the whole world changes, not because it's suddenly perfect, but because you are. You made stronger by appreciation. You made wiser by grace. You walking into the day already rich with the treasure of thanks. There is a sacred art to setting intentions. It is not merely about making lists or scribbling goals into a planner. No, it is far deeper than that. It is the quiet but mighty act of telling the universe, telling your God, telling your own self, this is who I choose to be today. The successful ones, the luminous ones, the ones who seem to walk with the wind at their back. They know the power of intention, and they do not stumble into greatness by chance. They design their day with purpose. In the stillness of the morning, while the earth is stretching and the sun is beginning to rise like a golden hymn across the sky, they take a moment. Not long. Just long enough to decide. Just long enough to declare, today I will walk in peace. Today I will be kind. Today I will move toward the dreams God placed in my heart. They do not wait for the day to shape them. They shape the day. Intentions are not rigid commands. They are not inflexible to-do lists meant to box in the soul. No, they are sacred promises, gentle commitments between you and the deepest part of your spirit. They are the whispered vows that guide you through the chaos. You might not be able to predict what the day will bring, but when you begin it with intention, you are no longer drifting, you are directing. The successful ones, they don't leave their mindset up to chance. They don't let the news, the traffic, the opinions of others decide how they feel. They rise with vision. They say to themselves, no matter what comes, I will not be pulled away from who I am becoming. That is power. That is presence. That is prayer in motion. Now listen to me, child. Setting an intention does not mean the day will go easy. Life has a way of testing you, stretching you, stirring up old storms. But when your soul is anchored in purpose, you will not be swept away. You will remember your morning vow. You will return to your center, and you will rise again, taller each time. It can be as simple as saying, today I choose joy. And then, when sorrow knocks, you do not pretend it isn't there, but you do not invite it to stay. Or maybe you whisper, today I will speak with love. And then, when someone comes at you sharp and mean, you breathe deep and answer with grace, not because they deserve it, but because you decided it. That is the strength of intention. Some write their intentions in journals. Some speak them aloud, like sacred affirmations. Others carry them silently in their chests like a soft and steady heartbeat. However you do it from the soul. Let it be real. Let it be rooted. Say what you need. Claim what you seek. Don't just wish for peace. Declare it. Don't just hope for courage. Call it by name. And intentions, beloved, are not only for what you do, but for how you be. Who do you want to be today? Do you want to be patient? Then begin your day by inviting patience in. Do you want to be brave? Then rise and tell fear it has no seat at your table. Do you want to be creative, generous, focused, free? Then write that into your morning like a poet pens a verse that must be sung. You do not have to fix the whole world. You do not have to climb every mountain before breakfast. But you can decide to meet the world with a clear heart and a steady hand. That, my dear, is where transformation begins. And don't let the world convince you that intentions are soft, or naive, or childish. No, they are the foundation of every great achievement. Before the book is written, the intention is set. Before the speech is delivered, the intention is planted. Before the dream becomes real, it is whispered in the quiet dark by a soul bold enough to believe. Those who move mountains, those who heal hearts, those who change lives. They begin not with a step but with a statement. They say to the world, I am here. I have purpose. I walk with intention. And the world, in turn, begins to move around them differently. Because the world responds not to noise, but to clarity. Not to panic, but to purpose. So before you open your phone, before you answer that call, before the weight of the world tries to settle on your shoulders, pause. Breathe. And ask yourself, what do I choose for today? Not what does the world want from me, but what do I want to bring into this world? Who do I choose to be? Write it. Say it. And then walk it out with grace. Because when you begin your day with intention, you are no longer living on accident. You are not just surviving, you are sculpting. You are not just existing. You are expanding. You are not just waking up, you are awakening. And that, my love, is the quiet magic behind every truly successful soul. There is a beautiful, powerful rhythm in motion, not just in the pounding of feet on pavement or the pull of limbs in a morning stretch, but in the quiet knowing that your body is a sacred gift. And movement, child, is the hymn it longs to sing. The ones who rise and move their bodies in the early light, who greet the dawn with motion rather than stillness, they know something many have forgotten, that the body carries the soul, and the soul must not be left idle. Successful people do not treat their bodies as burdens. They treat them as blessings. They do not wait for disease or despair to make them pay attention. They honor the temple they have been given while they still have the strength to walk through its corridors. They rise before the demands of the world arrive, and they move. Gently, deliberately, reverently. Not always to lose weight, not always to sculpt muscle, but to awaken the breath, to remind the bones that they are alive, to thank the heart for beating on through every hardship. There is something sacred in that morning motion. It might be a walk beneath a tree-lined street, the wind whispering sweet encouragement through the leaves. It might be a stretch in silence, arms reaching toward heaven as if to say, "Yes, Lord, I am ready." It might be a dance in the kitchen, barefoot and joyful, the body swaying to a song only the spirit can hear. However it looks, it is always a prayer. And let no one deceive you into thinking movement must be loud, fast, or furious to be effective. The power is not in the pace, but in the presence. The way your body wakes under your care, the way the blood starts to move, bringing with it new life, new clarity, new courage. It is not about performance. It is about praise. It is about gratitude made visible through action. You see, those who rise and move know something holy, that energy must be stewarded, that the body, when honored, becomes a vehicle of purpose, not a prison of pain. They don't wait until life calms down to care for themselves. They understand that life will always be wild. But the soul, when paired with a strong and willing body, can weather the storm. Think of it. Every great leader, every visionary, every world changer you've ever known, they understood the power of preparation. And preparation doesn't just begin in the mind. It begins in the body, in the breath, in the step. Before the speech, the climb, the breakthrough, there was the stretch, the walk, the run. The morning they showed up for themselves before the world even asked them to. And what's more, morning movement is not just a tool for strength. It is medicine for the mind. Anxiety softens when the legs are in motion. Worry lessens with each step taken toward the sun. Sadness, though it may not disappear, is held more gently when the body is engaged in its divine design. The mind can be loud, but the body knows how to whisper peace, if we'll just let it speak. Some lace up shoes and hit the trail. Others roll out a mat and bend, twist, breathe. Some sway to music that brings the ancestors close. Some simply lift their hands toward the heavens and sway with the quiet rhythm of prayer. Each movement, no matter how grand or small, is a declaration. I am here. I am alive. I am able. And I will use this day well. Because, beloved, let's tell the truth. You can have the brightest mind and the grandest dreams, but if your body is neglected, the journey will be harder than it has to be. The successful ones, they do not separate the spirit from the flesh. They know both must be fed. Both must be honored. Both must be prepared to carry the weight of the calling. And in that sacred morning hour, when the world is still deciding what kind of day it will be, they decide first. They decide to move forward. They decide to meet the day, not with stiffness or dread, but with grace in their joints and hope in their spine. That movement is more than exercise.